Hi guys, welcome to this page of the notes, and like I said, what we're doing is we're working with our new definition for congruence, which is a conditional statement. And I told you that I'm an algebra teacher, so any chance I get to do algebra and geometry, we're going to do it. So here we go. Very similar problem to what we saw on the previous page. All I'm doing in this case, we're taking the exact, it's the same geometry we just did. Look, I tell you right here, those two triangles, these guys, I tell you they're congruent. We just did that on the previous page. But now what I've done is added that algebra element to this problem because now you've got variables in there, right? See the x's and the y's? Awesome. Here we go. Let's do this problem. What we've got is I tell you the two triangles are congruent, so your job, find the corresponding parts. Find the corresponding angles, find the corresponding sides, then we'll go from there. Here we go. It looks like to me, if I took this guy, I need to find the corresponding angle to B. There's B. Its corresponding angle, if I flip, yeah, look at that, it should be E. I agree, should be E. That means that C is going to correspond with F, and that means then that A is going to correspond with D. Awesome. Now, sides, corresponding sides. Well, let's see here. Side AC, yeah, it's going to have to correspond with DF right there. So boom, boom. Let's see, side BC, I agree. Side EF. And then that leaves me with one side left, so there we go, that's easy. Okay. Alright, now that I've got my corresponding parts, let's see what they're asking me to do, right? And go from there. They want me to find AB, so they want me to find the length of AB. Okay. And then they want me to find the measure of angle D. Measure of angle D. Alright, we're going to one thing at a time, okay? One thing at a time. So let's go ahead and do this part first. We're going to find the length of AB. So here we go, AB. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Well, I know the length of AB. It's 3x plus 8. But I have a problem, right? It has a variable in it. I'm going to need to solve for that variable. So, here we go. I know that side AB is congruent to side DE. So here's what that tells me. Side AB is congruent to side DE. What does that mean? That means AB is equal to side DE. Yeah, set them equal. Solve. Right? Simple algebra equation. You guys did this over and over and over again in Algebra 1. I didn't say I'd make the algebra tricky. I just said I'd put the algebra in here. So we need to solve this guy. The way we're going to do it, subtract 3x to the other side, which means that 8 is equal to 2x. Divide the 2 over x is going to be equal to 4. There we go. Is that what I asked you for? Did I ask you to find x? I did not. I asked you to find the length of side AB. So here we go. AB is equal to 3x plus 8. Plug and chug. Right? Plug and chug. I know what x is. Drop that guy in there. 3 times 4 plus 8. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 8, 20. Sorry, 20. Okay. So that's the first part, length of AB. Now they ask me, yeah, here we go. They asked me to find the measure of angle D. Okay, we can do that. Let's see here. The measure of angle D. Measure angle D. Well, it's probably going to help to know what D is congruent to. 3 arcs, 3 arcs. So the measure of angle D is congruent to the measure of angle A. That's going to be very, very helpful, because what it means is I can take the measure of angle D, which has a variable in it, and set it equal to the measure of angle Y. Once again, I have a fairly simple geometry equation that I can solve. So we're going to have 6y plus 2 is equal to 5y plus 11. How do I know that? Well, 6y plus 2, that is the measure of angle D. 5y plus 11, that is the measure of angle A. And since those two measures, those two angles are congruent, these two guys have to be equal to each other. Solve this equation. We'll subtract the 5. That's going to give me 6y plus 2 is equal to 11. Keep going. Subtract the 2 to the other side. 6y is equal to, what's that going to be? 11 minus 2 is, I'm sorry, hold up. I apologize. I forgot to subtract the 5y. 6y minus 5y, y. Now, subtract the 2 to the other side. Y is equal to 9. Is that what I asked you for, though? Did I ask you to find the value of y? I didn't. I asked you to find the measure of angle D. Okay. I know what y is. Y is 9. So the measure of angle D is equal to 6 times 9 plus 2. Well, 6 times 9 plus 2 is going to be 56 degrees. Right? Because 6 times 9, 54, right? 54 plus 2, 54, 55, 56. 56 degrees, the measure of angle D, right? Guys, not so bad, right? We're taking that exact same thing we did in the previous page with congruency, right? Congruent, corresponding angles and sides are congruent, and then we're just adding a little bit of algebra. But let's do another one just to make sure we're okay. Oops, sorry, hold up, there we go. Boom. Let's do this one. All right. Once again, please notice, right? We've been doing triangles a lot. We just did 3 problems with congruence of triangles. Let's do something else. Here's what I tell you. I tell you these 2 quadrilaterals are congruent. So what do you think that means? Sure, that means that the corresponding parts are all congruent. Let's go ahead and label them. Let's see here. If we go ahead and do this, angle J, that's going to be, oh, sorry, that's my highlighter. Yuck. There we go. Angle J. Congruent to, well, it looks like if I took that guy and just kind of rotated him over, which J would be congruent with N. There we go. That means then that K is congruent with P, G is congruent with L, and M, oh, sorry here. I don't want to do that. Let me just circle them, because if I write in there, if I did my 4 arcs, I'd cover up that information, and we're probably going to need it. Since I gave it to you, chances are pretty good you're probably going to need it, so I don't want to cover all that up. Let's do the sides. Well, there we go. That one, which means that one, and that one, which means 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which means 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, just like that. I've got all of my corresponding parts. How do I know that those corresponding parts are congruent? Well, I tell you the quadrilaterals are congruent. That's our conditional statement. If the objects are congruent, then the corresponding parts must be congruent. Looks like we're going to have to do some algebra, so let's get to it. This part first. Find the length of LM. We can do that. So the length of LM, well, what is that congruent to? Because we're probably going to need that information. We did in the last one, so we'll probably need it here as well. LM, well, where is it? Let's see here. LM, there it is, right there, there it is. And that is the same as, ooh, right there, GH. All right, well, let's do this. LM is 6x minus 13. So that's got to be equal to 4x plus 3. Pretty simple algebra here. Subtract the 4. That's going to give you 2x minus 13 is equal to 3. Add 13 to the other side. 2x is equal to 13 plus 3 would be, 16. You got it. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 8. Is that what I asked you for? I did not. I did not ask you for x. I asked you for LM. So let's go back. Let's go back. LM is equal to, there it is, 6x minus 13. Plug and chug. Plug and chug. Don't fat finger something on your calculator. And I wind up with, let's see, 6 times 8, how about 48? 48 minus 13, 48 minus 13, 35. 35 centimeters. Awesome. Again, that's LM. Right, that finds me the length of segment LM, 35 centimeters. All I had to do was a little bit of algebra to find x, plug that in, and we get our guy. Okay, now what am I asking you to do? Then I ask you to angle. Find another angle. Oh, that makes sense. I did it above, so it makes sense I would do it here. Okay, so let's see here. The measure of angle H. Well, what is that congruent to? Well, we know the corresponding angle to H is M. Corresponding angle is M. So the measure of angle M. Okay, well, here we go. I know what H is. It's 9y plus 17, which has to be equal then to, 11y minus 1. Again, we've got ourselves an algebra problem here. Subtract the 9y to the other side. That's going to leave me with a 2y minus 1. Let's add 1, so that's going to give me 18. Divide by 2. I get y is equal to 9. So we got y is equal to 9, and I didn't ask you for y. I asked you to find the measure of h. So let's do that. The measure of angle h is 9y plus 17. Awesome. Plug and chug. Measure of angle h is equal to 9 times 9 plus 17. Well, let's see here. 9 times 9 is 81. We're going to add 17 to that. 81 plus 17 is going to be 97 degrees. That's the measure of angle H, and the last thing that I asked you for. So again, guys, what we're doing here is we're using that definition of congruence, which is a conditional statement. If two things are congruent, corresponding parts, angles and sides, must be congruent. Once I know the corresponding parts, I can either, like we did in the first two problems, just figure out links or measures, but more than likely, right, more than likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you set up some sort of algebra problem, right? Set up some sort of equation, solve for the unknown, then use that unknown to give me the information I'm looking for. All right, guys, head on over to the next page of the notes. We'll take a look at a little bit more having to do with congruence and using it to do proofs. So, head on over to the next page of the notes. I'll meet you guys there.